What if I told you the most explosive hip-hop feud of the last 2 decades didn't just unfold in front of cameras, but had secret layers so messy, so outrageous that it makes the Kardashians look like a Sunday school choir? That's right. 50 Cent versus Rick Ross, a beef that turned into a cultural earthquake, has just been ripped open again by none other than G-Unit's very own Tony Yayo. And trust me, he didn't just spill tea, he detonated a nuclear bomb of secrets, pettiness, and behind-the-scenes dirt. We're not talking about some recycled, they didn't like each other's songs nonsense. No, Yayo is dragging us into the backroom chaos, the phone calls, the plots, the psychological warfare that fueled one of the pettiest wars in rap history. He's exposing moments that will make you laugh, gasp, and wonder if these rappers secretly trained at a villain boot camp. Because according to Yayo, the truth behind this feud is dumber, funnier, and way more dangerous than the world ever imagined. Forget the music charts. This was about pride, money, and a level of trolling so advanced it could be taught at Harvard. So buckle up, because once you hear Yo-Yo's version, you'll never look at this beef the same way again. The thing about rap beefs is that they usually start small, a stray lyric here, a shady tweet there, and then snowball into an avalanche of pettiness. But when it comes to 50 Cent and Rick Ross, Tony Yayo is here to tell us that this wasn't just a snowball. Oh no. This was an avalanche strapped with TNT, rolling downhill straight into hip-hop history. According to Yayo, the fuse was lit not in a studio, not in a boardroom, but at the BET Awards, a night meant to celebrate Black excellence, but instead became the birthplace of one of the pettiest feuds in music. Rick Ross, at that time climbing the ranks as Miami's biggest boss, supposedly spotted 50 in the audience and decided to test the waters with a side-eye so heavy it could sink a cruise ship. Now, for most normal humans, that's just a glance. But for 50 Cent, a side-eye is basically a declaration of war. And Yayo explained that Fif was never the type to let something slide.
He'd rather start World War III over spilled champagne than let his pride take a scratch. From that moment, the battle lines
were drawn. And what makes this juicy is that Yayo wasn't just watching from the sidelines. He was in the trenches, right next to 50, helping plan the counterattacks. According to him, 50 didn't just see Ross as another rapper, he saw him as a fraud. The infamous correctional officer backstory became the nuclear button 50 pressed over and over, determined to erase Ross's street credibility with one word: Officer Ricky. And here's where the drama turned cinematic. Yayo revealed that, behind the scenes, 50 was strategizing like a war general. He wasn't just thinking about dropping a diss track. He was thinking about dismantling Ross's image from top to bottom. Diss songs? Check. Viral cartoons mocking him as a cop? Double check. Digging into Ross's baby mama drama and broadcasting it on the internet? Triple check with a cherry on top. But the wildest part? According to Yayo, 50 didn't even like Ross enough to beef with him at first. He saw it as entertainment, like poking a bear just to see if it roars. It wasn't until Ross tried to flex back that the feud became a full-scale demolition derby. Yayo laughed while retelling it, saying Ross had no idea what kind of petty hurricane he had invited. Now let's zoom out for context, because you can't understand how explosive this was without remembering the era. This was the late 2000s. When G-Unit was still a machine and Ross was solidifying his Maybach music identity. Hip-hop wasn't just about tracks. It was about image, dominance, and who could own the narrative. The internet was just beginning to weaponize memes, and 50 was the undisputed king of trolling. Twitter, MySpace, YouTube, they were all his playgrounds. When Ross fired back with diss tracks like Mafia Music, you'd think 50 would take it as a challenge. Wrong. He took it as fuel. Yayo said Fif's mindset was, okay, you want to play? Let's play, but I don't just rap, I ruin. That's when the infamous videos surfaced, 50 hanging out with Ross's baby mama, shopping for furs, clowning Ross's personal life. Like it was a sitcom. Who does that? According to Yayo, only someone who sees beef as a business plan. And that's the twist. For 50, beef wasn't just about pride. It was about market share.
He knew controversy equals clicks, and clicks equal
cash. The more outrageous the feud, the more people tuned in. Yayo explained that 50 was already pivoting into mogul mode, using beef as free advertising for his other ventures. Meanwhile, Ross was trying to prove he was untouchable. Instead of folding, he leaned into the chaos, dropping deeper than rap. Right in the middle of the storm, fans ate it up. Ross positioned himself as the boss who could survive the worst kind of heat, the kind that melted Ya Rule's career like butter. But let's not pretend Ross wasn't shook. Yayo claims Ross's team scrambled behind the scenes, trying to figure out how to counter 50's relentless trolling. Diss tracks are one thing, but when your baby mama's face is plastered all over the internet with your enemy laughing in the background, that's a whole new level of humiliation. And that humiliation wasn't random. It was calculated. Yayo admitted that 50 thrived on psychological warfare. He wanted Ross to break, to lose composure, to reveal cracks. To 50, rap beef was like chess. While everyone else was playing checkers, Curtis Jackson was moving queens and rooks. Of course, the fans weren't just watching. They were living for it. Memes exploded. Blogs updated hourly. Every new move became breaking news. Officer Ricky became a nickname Ross could never shake, no matter how many hits he dropped. And Yayo, sitting in the middle of the madness, said it was like watching history unfold in real time. Messy, hilarious, and deadly serious all at once. And here's the part that makes this even crazier. Yayo said the feud wasn't just about 50 versus Ross. It dragged in everyone. DJ Khaled got caught in the crossfire with that infamous stalker video. Diddy, Fat Joe, and Jadakiss lined up on Ross's side, ready to take shots at G-Unit whenever they could. Even Kanye threw a sly compliment Ross's way, subtly shifting. The balance of power. What started as a glare at the Bet Awards had now turned into a rap civil war. Camps were forming. Fans were choosing sides. The internet was the battlefield. And Tony Yayo? He was sitting there with front row seats, watching the whole thing spiral into chaos. And if you think this was wild already, just wait, because the next phase of the feud wasn't just about diss tracks or memes. It was about money moves, celebrity alliances, lawsuits, and the kind of psychological warfare that makes reality TV look like Sesame Street, just when everyone thought the fire couldn't burn any hotter. Tony Yayo revealed that 50 Cent cranked the dial past maximum. This wasn't just beef anymore. It was a circus. And 50 was both the ringmaster and the clown, throwing pies at everyone in sight. The trolling reached heights that even today's social media beefs can't touch. Forget subtweets, forget sneak. Disses 50 was dropping full-blown internet sitcoms mocking Rick Ross. He made Officer Ricky into a character so iconic, people thought Ross was starring in a reality TV show he didn't sign up for. Yayo said it best, Fifth made him a walking meme before memes were even a thing. And let's talk about the legendary baby mama stunt, because this is where 50 truly proved he was playing chess while Ross was fumbling with checkers. Fifth didn't just clown Ross musically. He flew out Ross's baby mother, filmed her shopping sprees, and paraded her like a trophy. That wasn't beef. That was 50 turning Ross's personal life into a WW storyline, minus the spandex. Ross, of course, fired back.
He dropped tracks, doubled down on his boss persona,
and tried to brush off the humiliation like dandruff on a Maybach leather seat. But the thing is, when your entire brand is untouchable, and 50 Cent has your family on camera laughing, at you the cracks start to show. Yayo made it clear. Ross might have survived musically, but mentally, he was rattled. Then came the avalanche of alliances. Fat Joe and Jadakiss stepped into the ring with Ross, teaming up like they were forming the hip-hop Avengers against G-Unit. Suddenly, this wasn't just 50 versus Ross. This was a lineup of New York legends trying to clip 50's wings. Diddy was in Ross's corner too, hyping him up as if Deeper Than Rap was a presidential campaign. Meanwhile, DJ Khaled, poor. Khaled became collateral damage in one of the nastiest moves in rap beef history. Remember that stalker video 50 dropped, where he sent someone to follow Khaled's mom to work? Yayo admitted that's when even G-Unit members were like, yo, Fifth, maybe you're going too far. But that's the thing about 50 Cent. Too far doesn't exist in his vocabulary. To him, beef was war, and war has no limits. The internet exploded. Forums lit up, blogs updated by the minute, and fans argued in barbershops like it was the Super Bowl. Team 50 would scream. He exposed Officer Ricky, while Team Ross clapped back with, "But Ross's music is hotter." The feud had officially spilled from the studio into the streets, splitting hip-hop culture right down the middle. Yayo explained that behind closed doors, this beef wasn't just entertainment. It was money. Ross's album sales actually went up because of the drama, proving the old saying controversy sells. But 50? He wasn't worried about record sales. He was making headlines, building his brand, and cashing checks from every angle. Vitamin water, movies, books, clothing, all of it got free promotion from the beef. Every time Ross's name trended, 50's name came attached like a bomb strapped to the headlines. And while Ross looked like he was holding his ground musically, 50's psychological warfare kept landing blows. Yayo said Ross's team worked overtime to keep him focused, but the Officer Ricky label never disappeared. It became a permanent scar. Even today, you mention Ross's CO past, and people instantly remember 50 dragging it into the spotlight. The memes. Unstoppable. Fans photoshopped Ross in cop uniforms, made parody videos, and even printed t-shirts. It was cultural humiliation, and 50 knew it. Yayo said Fif would scroll through blogs laughing, knowing he'd already won the internet long before. Twitter became the main stage. But here's the twist that Yayo dropped like a bombshell. The beef didn't just hurt Ross, it shook up G-Unit too. Not everyone in the camp wanted to keep up with 50's level of savagery. Some members felt the feud was draining resources and energy, distracting them from making hits. Others loved the chaos, feeding off the attention. It caused friction. Because when 50 was at war, the whole team was at war, whether they liked it or not, and while the fans were entertained, the industry was split. Some rappers praised 50's genius, saying he turned beef into marketing gold. Others whispered that he'd gone too far, crossing lines no one else would dare. But that's exactly why the story stuck. In an era where everyone played it safe, 50 turned beef into performance art, and Ross, willingly or not, became his co-star. But don't get it twisted, Ross wasn't folding. Yayo admitted, Ross doubled down harder than anyone expected. Instead of shrinking, Ross elevated his career, building Maybach Music Group, signing artists like Meek Mill and Whale, and proving he could survive nuclear-level trolling. To many fans, Ross walked through fire and came out looking more powerful than ever. Still, the scars remained. Behind the music, behind the luxury image, Ross carried the weight of knowing 50 had once dismantled his reputation on a global stage. And according to Yayo, that's the thing about beef with 50 Cent. Even when you win, you still lose something. The feud became legendary, immortalized in hip-hop history as one of the most ruthless rivalries ever. But the story wasn't over. Because the aftermath carried consequences that still echo in the culture today. And the way Yayo tells it, the war between 50 and Ross didn't just end. It transformed everything. Just when the smoke seemed to clear, Tony Yayo made it clear that the aftermath of this war was just as explosive as the battle itself. The beef between 50 Cent and Rick Ross didn't just fade into the background like some rap scuffle. It left shockwaves across the entire culture, and everyone involved had to deal with the fallout. For 50, the feud was both a crown jewel and a curse. On one hand, he cemented his title as the king of trolling, the man who could turn anyone into a punchline with nothing more than a laptop and a wicked grin. He proved that beef wasn't just lyrical combat, it was entertainment, politics, and business rolled into one. But the darker side, the industry quietly started pulling away. Big names didn't always want to align with someone who might flip the switch and use their secrets as ammunition. Yayo explained that 50's reputation became larger than life, powerful, yes, but also dangerous. Working with him was like walking into a casino where the dice were rigged, exciting, but terrifying. Meanwhile, Ross transformed the humiliation into motivation. Instead of being crushed, he rebuilt himself bigger than ever. Maybach Music became A powerhouse, his albums stacked plaques, and he proved that no amount of Officer Ricky memes could erase his impact. In fact, Ross flipped the narrative. The more 50 tried to bury him, the more Ross convinced fans he was unbreakable. And that resilience made his brand stronger. Yayo admitted he was shocked. Ross was supposed to be finished. Instead, he evolved into a boss who commanded respect, even from some of his haters. But let's not sugarcoat it. The beef permanently scarred Ross's image. No matter how many classics he dropped, no matter how many features he racked up, Officer Ricky followed him like a tattoo on his forehead. Every time Ross made a power move, fans in the comments would remind him, "But you were a CO." And that's 50's genius. He didn't just win battles.
He created shadows that followed his enemies forever. The bigger picture, though, this feud redefined how rap beefs were fought.
Before 50 versus Ross, beefs were mostly diss tracks and subliminals. After this, social media, memes, personal lives, family drama, nothing was off limits. Hip-hop rivalries became entertainment franchises, and the blueprint was written by Curtis Jackson himself. Yayo laughed when he said it, but he wasn't joking. If 50 beefed with you, it was like being drafted into the Hunger Games. You had to survive with the whole world watching. The collateral damage was real too. DJ Khaled never forgot being dragged into the mess. Fat Joe and 50's relationship was strained for years. Jadakiss stayed wary, and G-Unit. The constant beefing took a toll. Some members thrived in the chaos. Others felt burned out, and eventually the group wasn't the same. Yayo admitted the non-stop wars created cracks inside the unit, cracks that widened over time. And the fans? They got addicted. This wasn't just music anymore. It was theater. Every diss, every video, every petty stunt became a storyline. Blogs, radio, and early YouTube thrived off the clicks, turning beef into one of the most profitable forms of marketing the culture had ever seen. Without even knowing it, 50 and Ross had opened Pandora's box, showing that controversy could be more valuable than a #1 single. But the most shocking revelation Yayo dropped. He hinted that the beef might never truly be over.
Behind
the smiles, behind the occasional truce-like silence, there's still tension. Two egos that large don't just forgive and forget. And while they've both grown into moguls, Ross with his business empire, 50 with his TV dominance, the history lingers like a scar neither can hide. One wrong comment, one leaked interview, one Instagram post could set the whole thing ablaze again, and that's the beauty of it. According to Yayo, the 50 versus Ross beef wasn't just a feud. It was a cultural moment, a case study in how far artists are willing to go to protect their image, their pride, and their empire. It showed us the pettiness, the genius, the savagery, and the comedy of hip-hop at its rawest. It made fans laugh, gasp, and pick sides like it was a heavyweight fight. And even years later, people still talk about it like it happened yesterday, because here's the truth. Rap beefs come and go, but legends? Legends live forever. And thanks to Tony Yoyo's insider stories, we now know that what happened between 50 and Ross wasn't just beef. It was war dressed up as entertainment. And it changed the game forever. And there you have it, the uncut, unfiltered, downright messy saga of 50 Cent and Rick Ross. With Tony Yayo dropping bombs so heavy they should have come with a FEMA warning. If you made it this far, you're officially nosy enough to qualify as family. So don't even think about sneaking out without smashing that like button like it. Owes you rent money? Drop a comment below and tell me, whose side were you on? During this legendary beef? Team Petty King Curtis, who turned trolling into an Olympic sport. Or Team Ross, the Maybach boss who took bullets of humiliation and still strutted out like nothing happened. Be real, don't ghost me. I read the comments like it's my daily soap opera. And listen, if you thought this was wild, trust me, this channel is where scandals never sleep. Tomorrow's expose is already brewing, and it's guaranteed to make today's drama look like a Sesame Street episode. So subscribe right now before you miss the next bombshell. Because when the next beef detonates, you're gonna want a front row. Oh. And don't just subscribe politely, hit that bell like you're 50 stomping through Ross's Maybach collection. Go full savage. This is Beat Nest. where hip-hop's darkest and pettiest wars get served hotter than Rick Ross's wings at Wingstop. Stay locked in, because in this culture, the drama never ends. It just reloads. Remember, in rap beef, there are no winners, only survivors, and around here, we expose them all. Them all.